So it's now it's the 13th of December 2024. It's actually Friday the 13th. The time is, I think it was 4:19 when I looked at the clock, 4:19 p.m. I just went outside because I noticed out the window that some of my hens have got out again. So I went out there to get them back in. And of course, every time I go out, the gang stalkers come out too. This time it was the one, I've posted about it on Facebook. There's also a video of this guy, I call him Lawnmower Guy. He's the one with the lawnmower that went around. I think it ended up being like something like 20 times that he went round just to stalk me that day. Anyway, the video's there, you can see it. But you know, when I go outside, he comes outside and he does the same things, the same kind of repetitive movements. That's called street theatre. He's acting. And the other thing is that he was whistling. And it's another thing like coughing, where they've sensitized me to the point of giving me a phobia. And then it's an intimidation tactic, you see in there. Well, it's torture is what it is, actually. It's a form of torture, and it's called exploitation of phobias. And I just out loud, I said, well, there's the gang stalker whistling to intimidate me. I just said what was happening. And I just want to clarify here, I never, ever, ever, ever do anything back. I never do. So if anyone's accusing me of that, I do not, ever. Because, you know, I realize that we are being observed like every second. And it's a horrible situation to be in. You cannot defend yourself in any way whatsoever, because anything you do or say will then get used against you as if you're the one who was the aggressor, you see. Anyway, early this morning when I went out to tend to my hens, a gang stalker who has followed me many times in a grey truck, he also did one of those things, and it's a double honk. It's honk honk on the horn, and it's always like that. It's always double, like honk honk. And that is something they sensitized me to. Actually, they first sensitized me to that in Italy, when I was in Italy, and then they did it in Panama. Actually, the police would do that. That they had the police and the taxi drivers would come up as I'm walking along the street. They would come up right close up to where I was walking and suddenly do this honk honk, you know. So I'm very, very sensitized to that. So this guy, and yes, he was pretending that he was just saying hi to the lady across the road. Of course, but it was the setup, and you know, I think, you know, if you live near a person, you don't normally honk at them, do you? You just, you know, you live near them, you see them every day. Do you need to honk at them? I don't know. And there's so many roads along here that they all go to the same place. I don't know. It was a setup. It's a setup. He didn't need to be honking twice, exactly like that, right in front of my house. And also, the person he was honking at was also a gang stalker, because that was another. They were there with their car door open, which is one of the things that they've sensitized me to, and they weren't going anywhere because the car's been there all day, so they weren't going anywhere. This is the kind of thing that they do, you see. And and lawnmower guy does that too. If I go out to tend to my chickens, he'll go out and just open his truck door and leave it open for a while and then come and close it. Or he'll turn on his engine and then turn it off and get out again. And, it's this kind of repetitive movements doing absolutely nothing except torturing me is what it's all about. It's completely insane, but this is what they do. And it's psychological torture. Okay. They have me, as I said, they have me completely isolated. And they make out like I'm the one with the problem. It's just very, very horrible. Okay. I wouldn't wish this on my worst enemy. I really wouldn't. And whatever happens, this has to stop. Okay, that's literally the only reason that I'm forcing myself to keep going and to keep doing, and to talk about this. Even talking about it is very upsetting. And the only reason that I'm doing this is because so that people understand that it's torture and it has to stop. This isn't a little joke, okay? It isn't. These traffickers they've been doing this. Listen, they've had me under mind control since I was 4 years old. That I know from flashbacks, from recovered memories, that I had buried, maybe. I don't know the word for that, but suppressed, I think is the word. They've come back to me now. So all of this, and probably throughout my life, they've done things to set this up, what's happening now, to make it look like I'm some kind of terrible criminal. The way I see it is they're just getting rid of the evidence, because they've been basically targeted individuals are non-consensual test subjects. I think in my case particularly, I think that it's all about psychological torture. That's the experiments they're doing on me personally. And sadly, they've even convinced other victims. You see, most other targeted individuals, what they get more than anything else is the directed energy weapon attack, which is horrible, right? Absolutely horrible, and it shouldn't be happening. However, what the gang stalkers have done is they've somehow put in conflict those people against me. For me, the psychological torture is just much worse. Physical pain, I just happen to have, I think they call it a high pain threshold. I think that's what it's called. I can more or less, I'm a long-term meditator as well. I've meditated regularly for over 30 years. So I can kind of put myself into a meditative state where pain just doesn't, I'm not saying I don't feel it. It's horrible. I do feel it. But I know what it is. It's that I have a certain tiny degree of detachment. That's what it is. That's what you develop with meditation. And actually that has helped me with the mind control as well, because I think if I hadn't have meditated, I might really believe that the things that I was doing was actually me, whereas because I've meditated all those years, there's a little gap. It's really hard to explain, but it's that slight bit of detachment. Like, I know who I am, and I know, not necessarily in the moment, but I know from looking back, oh, okay, that wasn't me. Because I know who I am, and I know who I'm not. I know what I'm capable of, and I know what I'm not. Okay? If that makes any sense. But that's interesting. I've only just realize that now, that the meditation for all those years is a very useful thing. Okay. Anyway, so that's another psychological torture tactic that they use. It's called exploitation of phobias. It's not just sound triggers. It can be written as well. It can be words. It can be phrases. They've sensitized me, for example, to capital words written in capital letters. Now, certain fonts seem to be worse than others. And in general, if I see that a whole page is written in capitals, I will just skip over it. Like, for example, if I'm scrolling on social media and there's a whole post written in capitals, I just skip over that because I can't read it. I cannot. But where it really gets me, and it hurts, is if the post starts off in lowercase, so I start reading it, and then you click the more button, and then suddenly there's all these words in, or even just one word, all in all caps. It's like a punch in the face. It's hard to explain. It's like someone slapped you, and yeah, it's a form of psychological torture. And it really has weaponized my environment. And there's many. The gang stalkers have basically put many people in conflict with me. I don't know how they're doing it, what stories they're telling. I know what some stories they're telling. But they're getting these people to deliberately do these tortures to me on social media, influencers, whatever you call them on social media. They've got them to do it. And every instinct in me is just like, oh, I'm just never going to go on social media again. In fact, that happened to me with Telegram. They tortured me so much. I don't think I can ever go on there again. But the thing is that if I let that happen to me, I will have literally no way to get my message out and no way to get justice. That's the problem. So I can't do, I have to force myself to do that. And I also have to force myself to interact, especially on TikTok, because that's how. Oh, there's this thing called Gen X. I'm sure you all know about it. And it's a reciprocal thing. You have to, like the other people's videos, and then they'll come and like yours. And that's how I get more followers. Otherwise, on X and on Facebook, I am completely, almost about 99%, but almost completely ostracized. Like, very, very few people, even read my posts, let alone like them. And of the ones that do, 99% of those are gang stalkers, okay, who will then use this torture against me. So anyway, this is torture, okay? It is torture. It's no way to live. I really don't want to continue with this life. I am not living the life that I want to live. Of course I'm not. Gang stalkers are always trying to pretend that they're the good guys doing good stuff. Like, oh, look, yes, I'm not homeless anymore, but they didn't do that. Yeah, they probably guided me to get this particular house. I'm sure that they did, because they control everything that I do. And I'm in a town where there's a church bell that chimes like Big Ben. And that's they think, well, they've done that to torture me more, But actually it doesn't, because I don't have any negative associations with Big Ben necessarily, you know. Big Ben never did anything bad to me, you know. I never want to go back to England, that's for sure. You know, I am very traumatized about everything that happened to me in England. And no, you know, not only that, it would be dangerous for me to go back. And I don't know how, I don't know what's going to happen. I'm just praying because, you know, I don't think I've done a video about, I don't think I have, but they set up staged accidents, okay? They could have killed me. And then that continued when I came to America, by the way. But in England, it was just, I mean, it's horrible. It's all horrible. But in England, you know, the hatred against me, and I didn't even know why. There were people throwing stones at my car as I went past. Okay? There were people in other vehicles that were stoning my car as they went past the other way. Okay? My car would get vandalized the whole time. The amount of times that the tires got let down, and that could have caused an accident. You know, they were all the time doing things like that, all right? So it's not even safe for me to go back there. But equally, it's not safe for me here either. But the difference is here, there's the Constitution of the United States. And, you know, I have a chance of justice here. And I came here for asylum and justice. That's why I came here. And I believe now that the gangstalkers just told people that I was running away because I was guilty. I think that's what they were telling people. I mean, it didn't help that I know I was under mind control, that I wasn't really able to express the trauma that was being caused to me. However, two separate doctors did ask me, and they can be witnesses, you know, they can be witnesses for sure. They both asked me, how is this affecting you? Because they both seem to have been told that it was some kind of joke. And I told them both, this is traumatizing me. It is trauma is what it's doing. And you don't get over trauma. This is, you know, because that's another myth. It's gaslighting is what it is. You know, the gang stalkers like to pretend, oh, you know, we're helping her because we're making, you know, she needs to toughen up and learn to stand up for herself, and we're helping to make her stronger. You know what? Torture and trauma does not freaking make you stronger. It does not. Trauma is for life. Trauma lives in the body, you know. I have reactions that I have no control over. And my whole experience of life has been freaking weaponized. They have literally disabled me. This is absolutely much, much, much worse than if they had just killed me. Okay. So what they've done, in fact, what they've done, and I've said this before, I've posted about this before. If anyone's read, I'm sure many people have read 1984, okay? Room 101, where they forced these people to face their worst fears, like over and over and over again. Well, that's what they've done to me. They've literally ripped my life that I loved away from me, including all the people that I love. They've completely isolated me, and they are torturing me endlessly. Okay. What could possibly be worse than that? Seriously. And they've left me alive to live through this. It's far worse, far, far worse than if they had just killed me. You know, there's literally nothing they could offer me now in compensation, because they took away what I loved. You see, the bond between myself and my children is completely severed, okay? I've missed so much time, and, they took the side of traffickers against their own mum. This is not something that you forgive and forget. Ever. Okay? That goes way beyond, betrayal. Much worse. And they took away, they turned my soulmate into a gang stalker, actually, into a predator. That's the truth. And I didn't even realize because they had me mind controlled. Okay. And they've taken away from me my job, which was, it was my dream since I was 3 years old to be a flight attendant. I wasn't doing that job because I couldn't do anything else. I was doing that job because I loved that job. And in fact, I was trying to do other things to supplement my income because I knew, because I was a single mom, I hadn't worked enough years to accrue enough, retirement pension money, okay? So I knew that it wouldn't be enough. Okay, so I was trying to do other things aside from that so that I wouldn't have to, because I loved that job so much. I wanted to continue doing that, but maybe have a little side business or something. And that's why I was studying hypnosis, and I was studying other things, I was doing beauty therapy, all kinds of other things I was doing to kind of have a little side hustle so that I could keep doing my job, which I loved. And they just, even one of the lies that they told is, oh yeah, maybe she's acting out because she hates her job, knowing that was my dream come true. They literally ripped it away from me. And, that was after I had raised my children all on my own, that was my treat. That was for me, that job. That was finally something that I could do for me. And they just ripped it away from me, okay? Along with my children, along with my soulmate, everything. So literally there is nothing you could offer me now. You could give me all the money in the world. It means nothing to me. It means nothing because you've taken away what I loved most. What could I possibly want? I don't even want to live this life. I don't want to continue breathing. The only reason that I'm forcing myself to is because this is so horrible. This is so horrible that this must never happen to anybody again. And it is my duty to make sure that people understand that before I leave this planet.